Good afternoon. My job is to welcome you warmly to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and to the 41st edition of Saudi Agriculture. We're very glad you're here. We have 370 companies and 28 countries participating. And today we will have high-level representation from the Kingdom. SALIC is a leader in this sector, responsible for ensuring food security and planning and sustainability, of course, in the long run. And Amjad will be our presenter, and she will work with Mr. Ahmed Shahini, who is the Chief Investment Officer for SALIC locally today as the next presentation. That will be followed with a presentation of a very interesting panel from Netherlands, which, as you know, many people think Netherlands is a small country, but the fourth largest important player in this sector globally. So I think this will be very interesting and educational. Both these presentations will be highly valued. So once again, welcome to Riyadh, welcome to this event, and thank you for coming.
Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, after the brilliant and significant introduction of the summit by Dr. Akram Masri, we are now getting into the significant program with the first keynote address by Mr. Ahmed Shahini. Mr. Shahini is the Chief Local Investment Officer at SALIC, the Saudi Agriculture and Livestock Investment Company, the major contributor to achieving the Kingdom's food security strategy. Mr. Shahini has served in a wide range of executive positions over the past 16 years in the field of investment, business development, supply chain, international business, and commercial. Today, Mr. Shahini will speak about SALIC, enabling the local agri-food sector. Let us welcome on stage Mr. Ahmed Shahini.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to stand here today at this remarkable Saudi agriculture exhibition, which has been actually growing drastically year over year over year. As we gather here today, I think we don't just celebrate advancement in agriculture or networking to conduct businesses. I think we also address a very critical mission, which is ensuring food for our kids, for their kids, for the nation, and for the planet in an ever-changing world. In a world where 800 million people is starving. In a world where 1.3 billion ton, and that's with a B, 1.3 billion ton of food is wasted every year. In a country where its natural resources and arable lands are limited. In a country where its leadership and people believe that something has to change. To change the way we penetrate the food security ecosystem. To change what we really believe can do differently, and hence SALIC was incepted. SALIC was incepted back in 2009 with the aim of contributing to the food security, focusing on strategic essential commodities across the global agri-food value chain. Today, our assets under management exceed $7 billion through 14 investments across 7 countries geographically located in the northern and southern hemisphere. And yet, SALIC is a journey and not a destination. Driven by noble causes that energizes actually me every day in the morning, SALIC believes that everyone deserves daily access to affordable food. We invest in companies to enhance accessibility to those commodities. We partner with locals and international companies to further enable the agri-food sector through investment and value creation towards sustainable future for communities where we operate. What we're trying to build is a more resilient food system that enhances food security by partnering and empowering local agri-food sector. We accelerate their growth from one market to another, from one commodity to another, through innovation and sustainable practices, and the result is positive contribution to the GDP, improved self-sufficiency, and local production enhancement while reducing reliance on importation. Our strategy relies on 5 strategic pillars: to become a global food security investor, where our investments are diversified by origin and within value chain; to be a global champion in grains while developing an integrated trading capabilities and enhance our presence in global markets; to enable and activate the local agri-food sector through upscaling capabilities and accelerating growth. Also, we integrate our international investment capabilities with the local investment to build more resilient supply chain that can absorb shocks and fluctuation to ensure availability and accessibility. Finally, doing things the conventional way will not get us where we want. We truly believe that we have to do something differently, and that's why we truly believe in productivity and innovation. The vortex of technology within the agri-food sector has evolved maybe slower than other key sectors such as banking, communication, and energy, but it's catching up and catching up very fast. The focus of our commodities, as I mentioned, is essential commodities. As you can see it here, if I would summarize it, we can bundle those commodities into 3 main groups. One is grain and diversified portfolio or diversified product as a second group. And third is animal protein portfolio. To ensure availability through all year, capturing different seasons, and to mitigate the risk of weather volatility, we diversify our investment across the globe by being in different origins and market. Today, we are present in 7 different markets across 5 continents. In each market, we wear the hat of the locals. So in Brazil, we're Brazilians. In Ukraine, we're Ukrainian, trying to really apply the local concept, which is a mix between taking those companies to a global presence while maintaining local value creation. Our activities are not just diversified from commodity perspective, but also covers wide step of the agri-food value chain to boost the flow of commodities, building a resilient supply chain that has the agility to react and absorb shocks and disruption. SALIC, since its inception, was about international investment. And what we've learned from COVID, or when we analyze the emerging challenges faced by the food sector, or even anticipate any future potential crisis, God forbid, we're sure this pressure will come in different times, in different forms. That's why SALIC has decided to adapt to these dynamics, and instead of focusing only back then in international market, 3 years ago, the extension of SALIC role has been extended to the local market to have a complementary role for our international activities. What we do in the local market, we analyze the targeted commodities in the local sector. We've done an extensive exercise evaluating the value chain from end to those commodities. We try before that to align our strategy with key national strategies, such as the National Agricultural Strategy, the Food Security Strategy, PIF, Agri-Food Sector, making sure that we're all in harmony. We've identified key gaps in the value chain. Those gaps, we've analyzed it from even different angles. One, from volume. Two, from market structure. Three, some of those challenges does not really change due to the circumstances where we live, such as lack of natural resources and arable lands. We try to partner. We're in the business of partnership. We partner with the private sector. We enable them. We always ask ourselves, what's in it for the sector? What's in it for the commodity? What's in it for the value chain? Does our investment thesis or our investment approach towards those opportunities really addresses those bottlenecks or not? Finally, we also know that Saudi is a net importer country, and we're trying to reduce reliance on importation. Whenever we enhance the productivity in a competitive way, we believe we can reduce the reliance on importation. Our local focus, as I mentioned, is investing in local upstream. And let me elaborate a little bit more here and give an example just for those who like visualization in one way or another. Today at the opening ceremony, we've heard that the self-sufficiency rate in the poultry sector has reached more than 70%. Assuming that the local production reaches 100% of the local demand, still there are vulnerable parts at the value chain which might prevent the local producers from maintaining their production, such as the availability of the corn and soya, the affordability of the corn and soya, let alone other activities or other challenges across the value chain. And those areas are the focus of SALIC to ensure and complement our role with the private sector. Leveraging and optimizing storage infrastructure, there is an existing production capacity in the market. There is an existing storage capacity in the market. The idea is always try to partner with the private sector to leverage those infrastructure towards a better efficiency and a better utilization, which eventually will lead to either a higher margins for the producers or the processors, and that will lead to a more volume, I would say, that can really penetrate the market in a way to reduce as well the importation. Strengthening export capabilities, as long as those production are being produced in an efficient way, there is always, in some key commodities, a potential to export to neighboring countries and beyond that. Enabling of local agriculture supply chain within the focus of our commodities. Not all commodities can be grown or farmed locally due to the challenges that I've mentioned previously. But we truly believe that having a resilient supply chain that link our international activities, making sure that those inputs are available in the market, I think that will have a significant impact on the producers. Finally, boosting local productivity and sustainability. I've mentioned about our belief in doing things differently in addition to the conventional way. SALIC in the local sector are really has identified productivity and innovation as a key pillar in their strategy, i.e. agriculture technology. We know that the technology has evolved a lot. There are technologies in input, there are technologies in processing, in farming, and further downstream in retail and distribution. I think that will bridge some of the gaps, and the idea is leveraging a well-known, state-of-the-art, proven technology globally, give the market penetration through our portfolio or through the private sector, give them market penetration, scale them up to add value to the sector where they operate. I have my team here. Some of the team members are here, and I wasn't planning to mention that, but I think they are fed up with me whenever we assess an investment opportunities. I always mention those three words. What's in it for? The accessibility. How does this investment initiative really enhance the accessibility of this commodity in the market? Affordability. How can this investment initiative can make the commodity or the product more affordable in the market? And finally, can we make it more available in the market as well to contribute positively to the food security? These are the key, I would say, three elements that always we use it as a gate system whenever we filter our investment initiative. And I think that summarizes a lot of what I've mentioned previously. Today, SALIC is not just only an investor that assess their financial returns. We have an impact. We are an active investors. Today, 4 million, I would say, or over the past 3 years, we've reached to a level where 4 million ton of SALIC portfolio product had accessibility to the Saudi market, out of which 35% of the wheat demand as well from our portfolio came to the market. Our share from our portfolio companies, if I reflect that numbers into a total volume produced, our share within those company produces 20 million ton through its investment. And financially as well, it's very important parameter to ensure the stability and the sustainability of our model, the growth of the AUM or the assets under management, which has been growing 5x's over the past 4 years. That's it from my side. I try to be as precise as possible. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll be around to take any questions, if any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaheen, for very informative and educational presentation on multiple scales. I think it was incredibly, did a very good job for understanding SALIC, because many people, they know the general concept that you are part of the PIF and food security. But I think you also mentioned what's happening on the international side and on the local side and the different interests. I want to tell you something, sort of a background to before we introduce our next panel from Netherlands. We talked about Netherlands sort of distinguishing itself when we said it's the fourth largest. You have to remember who they're competing with. I mean, like first and second are the USA and China. So you can imagine now size, and you have to say, wow. What do they have, and why do we have 30 companies here today from the Netherlands? And what's this link between Kingdom Saudi Arabia and Netherlands? Netherlands have been coming with us. We've been doing this for 41 years, and I think over almost all these years, they've been with us here. And there is a reason for that. Urbanization globally is about 52%. In the Kingdom, it's about closer to 82%. And that has ramification on food. In urban areas, also, let's talk about numbers, about population. This city is already approaching 8 million. And the Crown Prince would like to see it approach 10 million over 2030. And perhaps we'll see. I mean, it was even higher objectives before. What does that mean when it comes to food? Remember, somebody like Norway is like 5.5 million if you don't understand the size of 8 million. All right. So it's a big city. And the agriculture areas, we have Qasim as a major area, and that's many hours, could be 5-6 hours travel by car. And we have Al Ahsa, which is maybe 3.5 hours on the Gulf. And we have Asir in the south. So the main agriculture areas are distant. So how do you feed a population, which is, again, how do you have accessibility and affordability and speed, you need every day, let's say, you need fresh tomatoes and cucumbers. Are you going to import them? No, you're not going to import them. These have to happen here. This is where Netherlands suddenly become much more important. I think in the area of greenhouses, for instance, they are a very strong little nation, but this is perhaps one of the reasons they play such a big role with us in the Kingdom, because it's extreme. I think there was a time, maybe we still do it, we export tulips to Holland because of the success they've given us in greenhouses. So when they don't have tulips there, they can use the technologies that we evolved here. So we provide them with tulips. So you can see it works both ways. The other thing, of course, there are technologies in water. That's important for us in the Kingdom. Technologies within the green. Remember now, greenhouses for us now, in the vicinity of Riyadh, we have 64-acre greenhouses. We're not talking about little mom and pop operations. There are huge greenhouses are being established to feed such a population, and accessibility and affordability. I liked your three key things to remember. I think those of you that watch this presentation, and hopefully Mr. Shahini will make it available later, you should focus on the three principles. I think they're very relevant to this model for the Kingdom. So yes, I think today we will have someone talk to us about greenhouses in this panel, and we have someone that will talk us also about the water issues and the technology, of course. I mean, the technology is essential. The Kingdom, some countries don't like to be reliant on Saudi oil. Guess who does not like to be reliant on Saudi oil? The Kingdom does not like to be reliant on Saudi oil. Therefore, as far as diversification of all the sectors, economic sectors, and the best way to diversify all the economic sectors and make them contribute to the economy, again, is through technology. So you use oil money to bring technologies for every single sector. So this is why you will see the interest that you hear. You can see the tagline of this event this year, the importance of technology. You will see drones, you'll see robots in the graphics, deliberately to remind everybody that those exists. You can pick up lettuce with the robotics, and you can water with the robotics, and you can even grow tomatoes without soil and in these controlled environments. So again, this is set up for this panel that's going to tell you a lot more important things than my introduction. But I just wanted you to understand, those of you that don't understand the role of Netherlands in the Kingdom. They have been with us from the beginning, and they've been big contributors. Even NEOM, when they wanted to do a model project, well, you can guess, like we say, who do you call? Not Ghostbusters in this case, but you call Netherlands, and they provided those technologies. And we have a nice lady, Mrs., I promised her not to destroy the name, Gilder Loss, okay, who will now take over as the moderator. I know you have that gentleman who's quite good looking, but I mean, he's not feeling well. So he's been replaced with someone not only better looking, but from the embassy itself, and an advisor on agriculture as a moderator. So, you have very strong replacement. Mr. Gilderos. And the panel, please, you're welcome to join us and sit under, in the order of your names, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Nienke Gelderloos, and indeed you did not butcher my name, so well done. I'm the agricultural advisor here in the GCC, part of the GCC team of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Nature. And we have a team here in the GCC that's representing the interests of the Netherlands and of course also of horticulture. That's why we're here today. Let me first start by introducing the fellow panelists here. First over to Mirjam Boekestein.
Thank you, Nienke. My name is Mirjam Boekestein. I'm the CEO of Dutch Greenhouse Delta. Dutch Greenhouse Delta is a platform representing the full Dutch horticultural ecosystem. We are representing over 40 leading companies, knowledge institutes, and governmental parties, all active in the full ecosystem of controlled environment agriculture. And the Gulf region is one of our focus regions, also the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we really are aiming to work together as public-private partnerships from the Netherlands, but also with the public-private partnership here in Saudi Arabia, all with the goal to set up sustainable local production of food to enhance the food security here in the kingdom.
Thank you, Mirjam. I think this is a very good start of the panel indeed. And as Mirjam says, we're working together with the public and the private sector quite a bit in the Netherlands. That's part of the model that we apply in order to improve our agricultural models. And we work together with the knowledge sector as well. So we always try to involve different angles and different disciplines in all the challenges we face where there is a common denominator. We try to work together. And I would like to hand over to Dr. Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, who is our liaison for the Dutch Greenhouse Delta locally, as well as a consultant and professor at MIWA and KAUST.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think you already introduced me. بس اسمي Abdulaziz Al-Harbi. I'm from King Saud University and I work as a local liaison of DGD and Dutch Embassy in KSA in the field of horticulture, specifically protected cultivation in general. And I'm happy to be with this distinguished guest today in this panel.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. Ms. Mirjam van Boeghem is representing the Netherlands Water Partnership. And I think it'd be fitting if you...
Yes, thank you, Nienke, for the introduction. Indeed, my name is Mirjam van Boeghem. So you see two Mirjams here in the panel, and indeed representing different sectors, but both with the same goals here. So a pleasure to be here. I'm working for Netherlands Water Partnership, and that is a membership organization, a foundation, independent, but we represent about 180 organizations, Dutch organizations, and they all have the same objective, and that is solving global water challenges together, so meaning also together with you here in the kingdom. What I can say about the 180 members, that they're quite different from each other. It could be NGOs, it could be large water companies, could be governmental bodies, could be city planners. So we are acting in the entire water domain.
Thank you, Mirjam. And then last but not least, also from the public sector, Mr. Ivo Meijer of the Municipality of Westland.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. Also, thanks for being on the stage. Yeah, I'm Ivo Meijer. I'm working for the Municipality of Westland, a city in the Netherlands, which is can be seen as the capital of horticulture in the Netherlands and maybe also in the world. And I think what makes Westland unique, but I think we come back on that later, is that we have the whole supply chain of the horticulture industry in one small region. So we have a lot of greenhouses, growers, but the whole supply chain, also greenhouse builders, growing companies, seeding companies, climate operators. A lot of them are here at the Saudi Expo this week. But that makes Westland quite unique, and that also is the reason why we have a lot of innovation in horticulture. But I think we come back to that in the panel.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ivo. Maybe you're all wondering, why are the Dutch here on the stage? Because they're from a low-lying country where it's very wet, and maybe the climate doesn't have so much to do with the local circumstances here. They come in with their technologies, but how does it fit in this climate? So maybe, Miriam, you could elaborate a little bit on how actually the Dutch do fit in and are successful here.
Yeah. Well, as the Dutch horticultural sector, we are active worldwide, and controlled environment agriculture, where the Netherlands is quite well known for, is a solution also for the global challenges we are facing worldwide. So we all have to deal with the climate change, the growing population, but also the need to increase our food in a more sustainable way. So having less impact on the environment by using less resources. And when you look at controlled environment agriculture, there are benefits. So you are using less resources. When you compare, for example, open field production to controlled environment agriculture, to open field, then there's a huge benefit in water. So when you are open field, you use 80, 90 liter per square meter. Well, in a controlled environment agriculture, it's only 5 liters per square meter. And also you are using less fertilizer, but also having less impact on the environment by using biological crop protection instead of chemicals and pesticides. As the Netherlands, we are really working together with the local partners to find the right technologies for the specific context. So it's different per crop, it's different per region. You really need to see what is the local context, what are the local needs to adjust and make the technologies here applicable.
Very interesting. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on how you think these technologies can also be used to the scale that's required here for the Saudi landscape?
Sorry, the scale?
The scale, because in the Netherlands we're much smaller. We're a population of 17 million. We're a tiny country. Do you see any challenges in scaling up to what's required here to supply for a large country with a larger population?
Within controlled environment agriculture, of course, you can increase higher yields as well. But I think if you look at the challenges, yesterday we had an event together with SOFTA at the ministry. And I think one of the key takeaways were lack of knowledge. So knowledge to knowledge and the knowledge transfer is very important. So it's very important to share and exchange the knowledge we have and also work together on improving. Also the collaboration is very key. So collaboration public-privately, cross-sectoral, so between the horti and water sector, as water is one of the very main challenges here in Saudi Arabia. And also between countries and even internationally. So by implementing this, I think we can overcome the challenges and also scaling up in a more faster way.
Yeah, so you're saying basically that also capacity building is a very big part of what you're doing, and that the technologies themselves are applicable elsewhere. So maybe going over to Dr. Abdulaziz, can you elaborate a bit more on what Saudi could maybe learn from the Dutch, but also if you have any ideas on the other way around? I think it would be very interesting to see your perspective.
Thank you. To be honest, I mean, everybody is acknowledging the advancement and the leadership of the agriculture sector in the Netherlands and globally in innovation and technology, etc. But we have to realize that it's not easy to copy other people experience straightforward. We have to think from within the country how to adapt this technology, either from Netherlands or from anywhere else. We have to do our job as well to adapting this technology in KSA. Of course, the different climate condition and different natural resources, including water. For example, in Holland, the water is not an issue, but in our case, we are suffering from this shortage of water as well. The hot weather as well is different, so we have to adapt this technology to our local needs. Let me first start with briefly about the Saudi agriculture sector. With the Saudi 2030 vision, we are going through unprecedented transformation in all the sectors, including agriculture. So we are going to this transformation in agriculture by upgrading the level of technology to bring it up to the sustainable level. Because when you talk about sustainability, we are talking about water, energy, as the two pillars of sustainability. So our job is to implement this advancement in the technology to sustain our food production, which is facing some challenges these days, like unfavorable weather condition, shortage of natural resources, and high demand by increasing the population, and also the other like epidemics and geopolitics, etc., which might affect the importation of our basic need of the food. Definitely, with Saudi and agriculture and Netherlands agricultural sectors are working together for more than 40 years or 50 years now, not only in greenhouses, but in dairy and poultry and different aspects of agriculture sector to produce food in Saudi Arabia. I can remember one of the success story of this collaboration of this partnership is the potato project in the Saudi Arabia, which started in the early 70s, and nowadays we became one of the largest producer of potato. At least we are not importing any more potato, and this is a result of this collaboration. Definitely, we have a lot of opportunities to learn from the Dutch technology and different sectors. Besides that, as Mariam mentioned, that the capacity building is part from this collaboration effort to make this technology available and usable and sustainable in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you. That's very interesting to hear, and also to see how you tie sustainability to food security. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on how that fits also with the ambitions of Saudi and Vision 2030.
As I mentioned, that in the Saudi Vision 2030, the transformation, all the sectors is going on, including the agriculture. This transformation aims to increase the productivity of our food system in Saudi Arabia, which is locally produced. This could be done either by traditional means like improving agricultural practices, irrigation, etc. But also globally, we find that the technology can do a lot of success in improving the productivity and sustainability of agricultural sectors. So this is why we have this is coined opportunity of investment and collaboration between the two sectors and improving the level of technology in these sectors. And recently, Ministry of water, environment, and agriculture, they released MIWA RDA, Research, Development, and Innovation Strategy, which has very clear roadmap technology, a very clear implementation plan. Also, it's explore the collaboration with other parties as well. So we have a piloting program, we have a capacity building program, which is we can learn more from the Dutch sectors in this area.
Perfect. So about this technology and advancement and how it can help us, we are also faced here in the kingdom with water scarcity. And I would like to ask Miriam, how are we going to go about the water scarcity and the application of technology in tackling this issue, this challenge?
Yes, well, indeed, we talked about already the 2030 vision. Let me put this appreciation that indeed it is so clear. So that helps us as well a lot how we can anticipate on that. What our main activities are is as well knowledge sharing. So, and we also like to give you access to the 180 organizations that are with us. So in this way of knowledge sharing, I think we can make more impact. And we do, for example, this knowledge sharing in different ways, but we also have the incoming missions. So we always invite people to come over. We had different missions coming over this year from MIWA and from Saudi Water Authority. And also outgoing missions very often. So we are happy in this way to contribute and to do on the knowledge sharing.
Very nice. And what do you think in terms of all these initiatives are the most impactful initiatives that you're working on?
Our members, these 180 members, are working on various projects. So that's a bit perhaps too many to mention. But what I want to discuss here that we are now working together with Dutch Greenhouse Delta. They are the leader in this. It's a Partners International Business, and that's, if I really speak from the Netherlands Water Partnership, that is a very important project because we see so many initiatives. We see so many activities. The pace is quite high, but sometimes it's not all coherent. And I think this program, that's also supported by a Netherlands Enterprise Agency, gives us more structure and gives us a more better timeline and also an action agenda. So that's also what we noticed from the UN Water Conference, a clear action agenda, and all these steps are very clear. And in that way, we can make more impact. And I think one other thing to mention is that you also offer different umbrellas here. So the Saudi Agritech Alliance, we will definitely want to be a member of that as well, because this umbrella gives us a good framework and good ways of collaboration. So we're looking forward to that.
Very nice, very good. And then Ivo, I'm going to ask you a question about the Westland municipality and your experience so far in this approach for the controlled environment agriculture. So what are your experiences? How do you go about it as a municipality to lift this whole ecosystem to a higher level with the technologies available? Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, of course. And first of all, maybe also a bit of an explanation why I'm from Munich Westland traveling to Saudi to tell the story. And that's basically, as Westland, we really believe in the story, and that was also on the previous speaker, but also what Miriam mentioned, we really believe in the local food production as the future. And it's the most sustainable way is having local food production in the most sustainable way. And greenhouses is one of the most sustainable way for food production, looking at resources like water, energy. And in Westland, we figured out that a time ago, so we have a lot of companies who are working daily based on sustainable food systems, on innovation. And as municipality, we really try to stimulate that. So like I mentioned, we have a lot of greenhouses ourselves in Westland. We are the densest area of greenhouses in the world. But because of that, we have the whole layer, the whole supply chain in one region, and that leads to a lot of innovation. So in Westland, on a day-to-day basis, the grower have conversations with, for instance, the greenhouse builder or the seeding or breeding company, and because they have daily contact, that leads to conversation. They face challenges, but they can directly interact with challenges and find out solutions to work on that. And I think that's also, and also because we have a lot of greenhouses in one area, we see a lot of collaboration. And I think that's one of the key factors in the Netherlands, is that growers, but also with other companies in the supply chain, they work together and talk together on a daily basis. For instance, like take an example of energy, geothermal. In the Netherlands, 4 years ago, we faced a quite big energy crisis. The greenhouses in the Netherlands use a lot of gas. The gas prices went up, so a lot of growers had a big problem with their business case. But at the same time, we're already busy with geothermal projects. That is when you get heat out of the ground, but that's very expensive innovation. No grower can invest themselves in a geothermal project, but because we have a lot of growers in one area, you can do that together. And with the knowledge from the knowledge institutes, with the regulation and the help and subsidy from government, whether it's local or the national, and the companies, you can achieve that together. And I think that's the core of the key in the analysis, the collaboration between the government, which I represent, the local government, and you, the national, of course, but also the companies and the knowledge institutes, like we call it the triple helix. And if you ask me, looking at Saudi, I think that are two advices I would like to work with Saudi on is see how you can stimulate collaboration between companies, but also how you can stimulate a model like in the Netherlands where governments, companies and knowledge institutes work together, because it leads to efficiency and to innovation.
Perfect. And how do you think, like, such a collaboration, it's not easy to just transplant that from the Netherlands to Saudi. So how would you think this could be done in practice?
Yeah, I think the most valuable is don't think that you have it in the perfect way tomorrow. So build it up from step by step. So the first step can be from government side, if you want to focus more on horticulture, having more greenhouses, try to put it in one area together. Because what I sometimes see in the world, but also still in the Netherlands, but also in the world, you see small places with some greenhouses in different locations. Try to look as government to some strategic locations in the country where you want to focus on your horticulture, look at the climate, but also maybe there's industry, you can use some of the residential heat from it. But try to have it on one place, because then you have a lot of greenhouses together, and then have a government try to let them work together. Because what I also see in other countries, you have the most modern greenhouses built next to each other, but there's no collaboration. So they operate totally dependent from each other. They do nothing in common. While you can have efficiency by working together on packaging, storaging, but also with energy initiatives, like I mentioned. So as a government, you can play the role as an independent body to bring the companies and let them work together. Because in the end, if they see it can be more efficient and also more cheaper, then I think they will be convinced to use it, but take it step by step.
Very clear, yeah. So maybe over to Miriam, because we're talking about this public-private cooperation and how we can make sure that more private sector companies are in touch on a more regular basis, how facing similar issues, and then working together on finding new solutions to come to a better outcome works. Like, how do you think this public-private sector collaboration that we're working in, the PIB, the Partners for International Business, actually works here in these circumstances and also in line with Vision 2030?
I think it's already mentioned, but the Saudi Agri-Foodtech Alliance, I think, is a very good initiative that also here is taking action on bringing public-private parties together in one alliance, and with setting up different work groups on different main topics, and really working together on getting those innovations, sharing knowledge and experience, sharing the problems we have, and solve those problems together. And I think when we bring public-private partnerships from the Netherlands, together with the public-private partnership here, you can create even a more stronger partnership together. So yesterday, together, SAFTA and DDD hosted a seminar at MEWA, where we really exchange ideas, where we exchange the knowledge. And I think this really brings parties together to create innovation, to create those partnerships, and also openness and willingness to share and really improve together. So I think that's one. I think the other one is the collaboration with KAUST, the Center of Excellence, which was announced during the opening. And we, as DDD, are signing an agreement with KAUST, all with the aim to stimulate and foster the exchange of knowledge and ideas and to create innovation together. So
with this working together and exchanging knowledge and technologies, maybe Dr. Abdelaziz, we're working on the CEA here in Saudi. How do these cooperations and initiatives help to advance the sector?
Of course, the controlled environment agriculture in Saudi Arabia started more than maybe 40 years ago with Dutch technology, and there is a lot of improvement now in the level of technology in this greenhouse, and we have seen a mega project now around Riyadh. It's also supported by Dutch technology and other places as well in KSA. One of our first action as a collaboration, DGD and the Saudi sector, is what we call the K2K program, Knowledge to Knowledge program, which is started almost 10 days ago in Riyadh in Istidama Center. This program is aimed to train young Saudis to be a professional in managing the modern greenhouses. This is one of the collaboration under the as a result of being DGD and other partners in the Saudi Agri-Food Alliance platform, and we are expecting to repeat this program in different locations in KSA. This is definitely will support the controlled environment agriculture, the greenhouses in Saudi Arabia, by providing skillful management of this technology, because it's very easy to import the technology and to build it around there, but you have to maintain it, you have to operate it, you have to make it sustainable by training local people on how to run this technology. And this is one of our objectives in K2K program. As I mentioned in the morning, that we have almost 6,000 hectares of greenhouses in Saudi Arabia. This is out of more than 1 million hectares of arable land. So we still have a capacity to improve the size, the greenhouse in the size, and the technology in the same time. Because this 6,000 hectare, 80% of this is using very simple plastic houses. So we have plenty of space of improvement, either in the technology or in the area as well in Saudi Arabia. And we still have a demand in the market. So we have, I consider it as a bright future for greenhouse technology in Saudi Arabia, with collaboration with other partners to support this industry.
Perfect, yeah. And from the collaboration with the students that I've seen, they're really bright and very interested. They're asking the right questions and often not very easy to answer questions. And I think it's very promising to have this collaboration and also to see things through a different lens. Very interesting. When we're talking about the technologies, because the capacity building, that's something that's a given. If we want to expand the number of hectares with a CEA, we need to make sure that it's being run in a proper way. But also when you're talking about the technologies, what do you think we should be prioritizing in terms of technologies?
We should prioritize the technology which is helping us to combat the unfavorable condition here in our local weather, which is the high temperature for more than 6 months a year, shortage of water, and the climate change as well, which is became very obvious now in our local agriculture system here. And I think in general, if you look at the greenhouses in the west part of Netherlands, they are focusing in heating the greenhouses, and this is why they are affected by the gas crisis last year. But we are cooling the greenhouses, and the cooling system we are using is still consuming a lot of water. I will give you an example. If you grow 1 hectare of tomato, 70% of the water go for the cooling system and 30% go to the plant. So we still have plenty of space to improve the performance of our, to adapt the technology in our local greenhouses. And also we have opportunities to utilize one of our rich natural resources, which is the sunlight. So producing energy, solar greenhouses, etc. It still have a big space of development in KSA.
Perfect. And when I hear this, it's the 70% of the water that's not ending up in the crops, or maybe even more. There is a lot to be said about water, and I think that's also why we have the Netherlands Water Partnership on board. Of course, we're facing water scarcity, depletion of aquifers, desalination that has its drawbacks in terms of the brine that it's producing. So, Miriam, can you tell us a little bit more about the kind of technologies that you think are relevant for this region and the kind of solutions that we could provide?
I think our members can do that very well. There are many solutions available. So sometimes I think the best way how to move forward is that we are on the table together, and that's already happening. So indeed we see Saudi universities working with Dutch companies as well, because it's good for understanding local conditions. So first of all, we start with that. And sometimes we see also some issues on scaling up, because indeed the projects are large here. Not all our companies are used to that. So that's also a good understanding and coming up together with good ideas on how to scale up. So that's something that the NWP is then facilitating, and also having these conversations already between universities and between companies and university. So, and all different knowledge institutes basically.
Okay, good. And do you have an example of where this worked really well with these the collaboration between the different partners in Netherlands Water Partnership and knowledge sector as well?
Yeah, for example.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, it's working again. Just one to mention here is, for example, with Kaust. Indeed, we're working together. For example, one company is in hollow fiber membrane. So indeed, they want to understand better on local conditions, and they are indeed working on coming up with better solutions suitable for the kingdom. So that's one solution. And we see also companies like Nijhuis Sauer Industries. It's a very large water company from the Netherlands, and they work with a local partner, a large partner here, to get the right conditions and get the best solutions together. Yeah.
Perfect. Ivo, when you hear all this about all the technologies and solutions, how do you think a municipality could help to make sure that this ecosystem is also like working properly and applying here?
because what I think is also, like I've mentioned in Westland, maybe we're the most modern area of greenhouse, but we also still have our own challenges we are working on every day. And I think that could be an example of in the world. Looking, for instance, talent, the Knowledge to Knowledge program has been mentioned. Also in the Netherlands, we're facing an issue with talent. But also we see not only there we have shortage of people, but the kind of jobs in the horticulture are changing. But it offers also an opportunity. So when I'm going now, for instance, to a university and I ask students, do you want to work in Westland in the greenhouse? I think I get the reaction, and I saw that in practice. What should I do in a greenhouse? Will I pick up tomatoes? That's not where I'm educated to. But I think more and more people must know that greenhouses are getting more technical and automation in the greenhouse. So at this moment in Westland, you see innovations like robots in greenhouses, drones in greenhouses. We saw the drone this morning at the opening session, but also in greenhouses, you see more and more innovation. I think that make it more interesting also for students with other backgrounds to work in a greenhouse. But also we still have a lot of challenges. It's also a kind of candy shop for students with technical skills education to work in that. So that's what we do also in the Netherlands. And I think with knowledge, like Dr. mentioned, you have to educate them for the right jobs. And also that involves education, but also, for instance, the infrastructure. Because what we see in Westland is that the most people with the higher educated people, so with the technical background, are living more in the cities like Delft and The Hague, that are quite, for the Netherlands, big cities, but from Riyadh perspective, small cities, but they're living in the cities. As Westland, we have to make sure, and that's our role as government, that they can really go to Westland for going to the work. So we have to work on the roads, public transport. That's also a facility as a government you have to take account in that. So also if you're looking at Saudi with bigger horticulture projects, don't only look at the horticulture, but create the circumstances that the companies and the students can work in this field. And we face that every day, this challenge as Westland. Although we have a lot of companies right now, we want to be maybe the number one also in 10, 15 years. So we have to work on that as well. So I think in that process, you can learn from each other and achieving and working on those challenges.
Yeah. Hearing that about it, like the talent, and it's really like, I think the challenge here is a little bit different than maybe in the Netherlands. Can you elaborate a little bit on how it might be different and where you could see similarities and how you could help there?
Yeah, in the Netherlands, I think the issue currently is that we have for the people working in the greenhouses, but that's also in Saudi, we have a lot of people from other countries. At this moment, from other countries in Europe, most of the time Eastern Europe, like in Poland or Bulgaria. But what we see in the Netherlands is that also their standards in Poland and Bulgaria are getting better, so they're getting better jobs in their own place, and more industries are fighting for the same people. So the only solution for that is to focus on more innovation to replace people, like automatization, like robots, like drone. Basically, every handling you can replace with innovation and technology in the future, you should look at. And I think that can also apply for Saudi and everywhere in the world. Because, for instance, we also have relations in Japan. In Japan is the problem also the aging people. So there are hardly any young people who want to work in greenhouses. But there is a growing population, especially in the cities. So there's a need for more local food production. So also in that country, you have to look at solutions that replace people's hands, like automation. So I think a lot of the challenges in the world are quite the same. I think we must work together more in finding solutions, in finding those challenges, and learn from each other. I think we can also learn a lot from what happens here in Saudi.
Yeah, so we're really making this industry into an industry that's something to strive for, that's cool to work in. I think that's something special to do. And also we're working on food production and on food security, and everyone eats, so it's always something that people can relate to. So I think this industry is, to me, like the most exciting one to work in anyway. Having said that, Miriam, maybe a little bit on like the way we work together in the Netherlands and the relationship to what we call green ports. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on green ports and how that works for you and how it can be applied.
I think Ivo mentioned already a bit, but I think it's important to have the full ecosystem. You can have the nicest greenhouse with all the technologies, but if you don't have the knowledge to operate it, it will not work. If you don't have the logistics, the cold chain arranged, you will not have fresh tomatoes in your retail. So it's very important to set up the full supply chain, the full ecosystem, to create a successful and sustainable food system. So it's very important to think about all the different aspects from seed to consumer.
So what does a green port look like in your view, and what would it look like in Saudi in an ideal world?
It's a bit of, if you keep on talking in the terms of Westland, flying over Westland, where you have the greenhouses, the seed companies, young plant companies, financial institutes supporting the growers and the companies, logistic and trade companies, knowledge institutes where you have green education, all in one area together. And in the Netherlands, for example, we have also in the middle of the Westland, we have the World Horti Center, where the industry is coming together as a public-private partnership, working together on innovations, training, demonstration, etc.
Perfect. Dr. Abdulaziz, what do you think should be needed in order to have these green ports also here, or to apply this concept of green ports?
Yeah, the concept of a green port is really a very attractive for us to learn. We still have to learn more from the green port before we think of applying it locally, because we have a different ecosystem here in KSA. And I agree with Mariam that the whole ecosystem should be, improved to get the right result out of it. For example, she mentioned that the technology of the greenhouse is not enough if you're not training people, if you don't have the right supply chain. I will tell you something that in KSA, that the effort to support the food security in Saudi Arabia is not only by improving the productivity of the land, but also by reducing the losses caused by inefficient supply chain. Okay, we are losing approximately 40% of our agricultural production in the supply chain, or by misused as well. So this is the complete picture, should be worked together with the Ministry of Agriculture, MIWA, and other partners through the Saudi Agri-Food Tech Alliance, so we can create this kind of working group focusing in specific topics in the whole picture, supply chain, technology, etc. So definitely we will have a positive result. But also I would like to comment what Ivo said about that the agriculture science, applied agriculture science, became less attractive to the young people. Yes, we are facing this. We have less number of students enrolled in the King Saud University in the agriculture science in the last 10, 15 years now. By improving the level of technology, we can also at least attract some of the young students. At the same time, in Saudi Arabia, we face the problem of finding the young people to work in the agriculture company, which is it's far away from the cities, in the countryside. So one of the new technology now, it's the vertical farming, which can be under the umbrella of urban farming, which can be within the city. So you can also turn part of the city as food producers by adopting this kind of vertical farmings or urban farming within the city itself. This is one of the technology. It's not very clear now about the feasibility at least, but it's a promising technology to be improve the production of food within the city and also to attract the young people from both gender to work in the agriculture sectors.
For sure, yeah. And I think it's also an answer maybe to the wise use of water in a vertical farm. Is that something you would like to say something about, Miriam?
Well, on the vertical farming, I'm not the expert on that, but yeah, as we discussed, of course, in the closed environment, yeah, we can be very secured in how the water is used. Of course, we support that because there's minimal water use. So, and the Netherlands are famous for water efficiency and definitely also the reuse of water. So I think there we can support definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we've heard a lot today about knowledge transfer, about being wise with water, food security, about how the ecosystem as we have it in the Netherlands can be entirely or partially be used as well to the advantage of the ambitions in line with Vision 2030. I would like to thank the panelists for their contribution. And I would like to thank you very much as our audience for listening in, and feel free to approach us after this session if you want to have a chat about one of the topics. Thank you very much.